Hey, and welcome to another Firefly beading tutorial. Today I'm going to be showing you guys how I make some triangle brick stitch earrings using Miyuki Delicas size 11. And this is a pretty easy project for beginner, bead weavers. It's using the brick stitch which builds up quickly, and it's pretty easy to learn once you get going. We are going to be using Fireline, so it's a braided fishing line. We are using the 6-pound. The color is a crystal color, so kind of clear, kind of white. It does come in other colors. I'm also using size 10 needles here. A lighter if you have it. You may need chain nose pliers for earring hooks. And then the other important thing is a special kind of cutter. This is great for Fireline. It doesn't dull over time. This is a Xuron cutter. We sell these at Firefly. You also need 4 colors of Miyuki Delicas. These are size 11. This is black. I also have Opaque Eucalyptus, Opaque Hawthorn, and then lastly it's Opaque Persimmon. And this is also Duracoat, so pay attention to that. Duracoat is a nice lasting product. I lay these all out, but you do want the Duracoat because it does last much longer than anything else. They're a little bit more expensive, but it's worth it. Anyway, clear your space, and this is how the Fireline comes. So it does have a little sticker on it like this. I just peel that off, and I save the sticker and reuse it. But if I'm not using the sticker, there are these little notches here, so that you can always easily find your thread for the next project, because this stuff you can lose it pretty easily, so you can put it on either side for the notch. We are going to need about a yard per earring of Fireline. So measure out a yard, and then cut it with your cutters here. These cut like butter. They're awesome. Anyway, you put your sticker back on here like this if you have it, or put it in the notch. And then I like to put this little cap back on it because I do hang it when I'm not using it. Biggest thing is clear your space. You need a lot of good working space. And then these have a little tube they do come in, so that is handy because they're sharp, Okay, so we've got our triangles here. The pattern that I made up here is pretty simple. There's 12 beads across to start with, and then from there 3 rows of each color all the way down to the bottom. So 12, and then 3, 3, 3, and 3. Okay, so the first thing we need to do is thread on our needle. We'll put our thread onto our needle, and I just hold my thread on my left hand, and I use my right hand, my dominant hand, to kind of push the needle onto the thread. But either way, you do want about a 3-inch tail from the needle, and then you've got the rest of your working thread on this end. I have 4 colors lined up here in the order I want to go in. So the first thing I'm gonna use is do that first row of 12 beads. So I'm gonna pick up my base color, which is this yellow. And I'm going to actually hold it like this and go through my triangle, stabilizing everything on my left hand. Just got to get a good set here with your fingers. I'm kind of pinching everything in place as I pull my thread through. So here's a tail I do want to leave. So it's about a 6-inch tail on the back side here. So my needle's on this side. I'm going to tuck this tail out of the way. I use my middle finger and push it down against my pointer. And you can see my bead is still here. I'm going through that triangle still. And I'm going to take this needle and I'm going to go through the bottom of my bead. So here's my tail, so I'm going towards my tail. And I'm gripping my tail still with my fingers and pulling until I see this. So I just looped onto that. I don't want to pull it too tight because it'll pull my tail out of the way. So I want to remain with a 6-inch tail, so I just kind of hold it in my hand like this to keep it from moving. And this bead is going to move because it's not secure yet, and that's okay. I just kind of let it be tight but loose at the same time, and we're ready to grab the next bead. So same thing, I'm going to go through the triangle from the back side, pull everything down slowly. You can kind of see it get ready here. I take this thread here, my working thread, and put it out of my way as I take my needle and go through the bead. Let's pull it down a little bit tighter and then tuck it. And again, I'm going to go through the bottom of the bead just like this and pull it gently. And watch you don't get caught up, which you might. So just pull it gently until it snaps right next to the other bead. And again, I'm still holding the tail in my left hand. See, I'm still gripping it. And now I've got two side by side, and I give a little bit of a tug and move on to my next one. We're just going to continue this process till we have 12 beads on this triangle. So tucking it and going back through the bottom of the bead. Looks like I went to the left, but it's the bottom of the bead, and snap it in place. So just repeating this process. Tuck through the bottom and up. Bead on, behind the triangle, etc. So here we are. Do pay attention to this little tail. I almost lost it. It sucks to have to rethread this tail. So if you could pay attention to that, that's great. So I'm just double checking here. We have 11 beads. Yep. So I need to add one more bead. And I'm going to add this guy on just like the others. Through the triangle, up through the bottom of the bead, and snug tug. Everything's pretty tight on here, but it will move side to side. That's okay right now. We're just going to kind of pull everything tight in place. It'll get tighter as we work. Main thing is keeping this tail out of the way. So we've got our 12 beads and we're ready for our second row. So holding your tail in place, this time we actually need to pick up 2 beads. Every time we start a row, we always start with 2 beads. So there's little threads that form here called bridges. We're going to skip the first bridge and go under the second one. So I'm underneath this bridge and pulling it tight. Now I'm going to tuck my tail out of the way and come up through the bottom of this bead. So you can see this is the bottom of it. Putting that needle through. It still looks kind of funky, but I just gave it a little tug. Now I need to go directly above, down into the next bead, directly beside it, sorry. Pull it tight and then go back up through this original bead, so my left bead, so back up. So we just did basically like a square. Left over to right, go down the right, then back up through the left, and then pull tight and you'll see it snap right into place. Hence the brick, looks like bricklaying. Now you're just going to pick up one and go through the next bridge and back up through that. Again, pick up one, go under the bridge and up. So from here on out, it's just one bead all the way to the end. Under the bridge and back up. So here we are in the last bridge. So we're going to go under this last bridge and back up. Oh, hold on. Keep that tension by tucking it. Sometimes I do, sometimes I forget. But anyway, back up through the bead. Give it a little tug. You'll see it snap into place. So you can see how it's starting to look like bricks being laid down. Important thing is we're going to flip it. I'm always, and holding my tail, I'm always working from my right to the left when I do this. So we're starting a new row, so that means pick up 2 beads, skip the first bridge, go in through the second bridge, go under the second bridge. Now we're going to go back up through the left bead, down the right bead, and back up the left bead. And then pull and kind of maneuver things until you see it lay nice and tight and straight. Then continue on 1 bead at a time. Under the bridge and up through the bead. Here we are on the last bridge. So under this bridge and up through the bead. So we've got 3 rows of yellow. Perfect. Flip it. And now we're going to do the first row of orange. Because again, we're going to go 3, 3, and 3, and 3. So 2 beads first. Same as before. Go to the second bridge. And just continue on the process that we just learned. Down and up. Pull tight. Continue on with just 1 bead. under the bridge, through, and here's the last bridge. Back up. So that's the first row of orange, complete. Flip it and do the second row of orange by picking up 2 beads, going into the second bridge, up the bead, down the right, and up the left. Pull tight. Continue on through the bridge. So under the bridge, through the bead, under the bridge, through the bead, under the bridge. Whoops. Okay, I want to show you guys this. So I have, by accident, 2 beads on this thread. No problem, I'm just going to go back under the bridge the opposite way that I came through and pull it out. Because we're working with Fireline, we could do this. Now I'm going to go through the bead and gently pull this out. If you're working with any other thread, sometimes your needle gets caught in the fibers. But Fireline, it's a lot harder to do that, so you don't have to take your needle completely off your thread to fix a problem. Sometimes you do, but if you can avoid it, that's great. Anyway, we're going to continue on. So again, this is the last bridge. And up through the bead. So that's the second row of orange complete. Flip, third row of orange. 2, second bridge, and continue on with what we already know. Here's the last bridge of this third row. Alright, now we're ready to flip and start with the blue. So just as before, second bridge, continue on with the same process. So here's the end of that row. Pull tight, flip, and grab 2 more. Second bridge. Last one here, under here, back up through the bead. So that's the second row of blue, and here's the third row of blue. Second bridge, and here's the last one on the blue. Perfect. That's it. Whoops, nope, not blue. We want to do black now. So we're going to pick up 2 black ones. There's only 3 bridges here. You're still going to go through the second one. Get your tension right here to go through the bottom of the bead. Hold on. There we go. That's the bottom of the bead. Bring it through, down. So just as before. And pull tight. We're going to add 1 more black one through this last bridge. Pull tight. Now flip. Now there's only 2 bridges left, so we just need 2 beads on this row. So still going through the second bridge. Up through the bead. Down through the bead. Up through the left bead. Pull tight. Get everything nice and tight. You can really tug on this Fireline. Alright, now we're ready for our bottom. So we need to flip. Now there's only 1 bridge, so we can only go through 1 bridge. We only want 1 bead on this row. So bring that 1 bead through, go back up like normal, tug. You'll see it pop into place. But what you'll also notice is a little bridge on the outside. This is where maybe I wanted to use like maybe a black Fireline or smoke Fireline, but then you would see the black up there. So I don't know, it's just 1 little thread. I don't mind seeing it, so I'm just going to keep it there. And I'm going to see that bridge and go on the opposite side of it. So I'm going to pick 2 beads here to secure this bottom in place, and then pull it tight. And you'll see that secures that bead where it needs to be. I'm going to continue on through 2 more on the outside and pull it tight. So here's where we're going to secure our thread here. So I'm going to go between these 2 beads here. You can see my needle is going to go to the left side of these 2 beads, and you can see that little piece of thread there. That's what we want to make our knot on. So we have the needle through here, create a loop, and then bring our needle through that loop. Then gently pull this. It forms a knot that'll go right in between these beads and pull tight. Then I'm going to continue up through one bead here. So up above that, go up one, pull it tight and pop that knot inside of there. I'm going to go directly to the left and go through 2 beads here. You can't see, but I'm going through 2 of the turquoise, so you can see on the back side that I'm going through 2 of those, and I'm pulling it tight. So I'm just weaving my thread in because I don't want to see it, but I'm also securing it so it doesn't easily come out. All right. And then I'm going to go back through 2 beads just to pull everything in place, because I like to end my thread on the outside. So either way, you just need to figure out how to hide your thread. So I just took my needle off of that long thread, and I'm going to add it onto our short piece that we had originally left behind. So this is the 6-inch tail from the very beginning. Putting my needle on there. And you can see that's our starter bead. So let me get this long tail out of the way. I don't want to cut it off just yet, just in case. So I'm just going to tuck it out of the way. All right, so I'm coming out of that original bead here, and I'm going to come on down through a few beads here. So maybe 3 beads and pull that tight. And I'm going to go ahead and form a knot right here as well. These are called half hitch knots. So again, we're going to come and catch a thread here, so I can't move my needle anymore from side to side, so that means I'm near a thread. So there he is right there, see? So that's good. So I'm going to form my knot around that. So I pull my needle through, keep a loop, go through the loop with my needle, and gently pull that knot in. Now for this one, I'm going to go directly beside to the left, so in the orange right beside it, pull tight, and then start to go up. So I'm going up in the bead above, continuing to go up. So up 1 more bead. You always want to put into the beads right next to the bead you're coming through, and up through the top here. Excuse me. Now we're going to go back down through our original bead and back up to the bead next to it. This is just going to secure it so it's nice and square there. And I'm going to go back down to the right here and then through a few beads, 3 or 4 of them, and pull very tight. So again, I'm ending my thread on the outside just like the other one. Pull off your needle, get it out of your way. Make sure everything's nice and tight, and we're ready to cut these off. So they're nice and stuck inside, which is great. We just want to get rid of the tail. So I'm just going to leave a little bit of a notch like this. And I'm going to burn down this. So I'm going to basically barely touch the flame to it, and you'll see it ball up, and you can kind of push it down so that it gets secure in that bead. You got to be very careful doing this. Sometimes a match is easier to control for some people. You could just cut it flushly. It's hard to do that though, so burning it down helps hide it. It also helps keep the Fireline from pulling out, because you're basically putting a little plastic bead on the end. So again, just gently burn that. And so you have a little nub. I'm going to try to get this one a little bit more. Be very careful doing this. You don't want to destroy your earring you just made. I'm going to do that till I could tuck that in, and there we go. And now we've got everything nice and tight in here. It's not going anywhere. This is strong stuff, and it's stiff, and that's what we want for these earrings. And now we're ready to add on a little ball end hook. These are simple and easy to use. You can just use your fingers, but if you want to use a chain nose, I open it like a jump ring, so I twist. I slide on through the back, depending on how big your hole is. The important thing here is to flushly close this, so have the ball touch that ear wire, and it should be pretty secure. And that's pretty much it. Again, these are fun earrings. They are small beads. You just have to get used to holding everything, getting your tension correct, that sort of thing. The biggest thing is like really weaving in all your things, your threads, to hide it and make it look nice. But if you have any questions, just let us know by emailing or calling us. And don't forget to hit like or subscribe to our channel to learn more beading tips and tricks just like these. Thank you, and happy beading from us at Firefly.